Saturn SL1 station wagon, year 2000. The windows will not roll up on the driver's side front window. All of the other windows work. Obviously needs attention immediately because I'm in Florida and it could rain at any second. That's just the way Florida is. Remove most of the dash here. There are only 4 screws. There's one over there, one over there. You've got these little slide panels here. There's no clips, so when you want to take this off, pry both sides apart and then either pull up or down on one side, and that unlocks that. The rear side of the center console compartment has 3 screws in it. 1, 2, and then 3 over here. And then there's a screw here and a screw on the other side. Once you get that, you have to then pry up a little trim piece that goes over the emergency brake handle. This whole section is just one piece. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shifter trim piece, and that just pries right up. That was pretty easy. Then you have these control modules. You unclip the harnesses, real simple harness. Just press down here, it slides off. So this one actually goes over here, and I pried both of them up just to take a look at the connectors, make sure everything's good. The harness looked good, didn't see any blown fuses. My guess was it was actually a window control. So let's go take a look at the window control. Here's the PCB, so that is up. Let's wind the window all the way up, and that's down. Click. Here you can hear the audible click. The problem with the front was that it was not clicking when you roll it back. It just kind of went back a little bit without a click. And the same for the child window feature, and this was not working either. And it is possible over the life of the car for these contact points, or for this little band of metal, to wear down to the point that it's out of shape, basically. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's burnt, which indicates an electrical fault. And the Saturn series is known for electrical faults. They have many different recalls on the electrical modules for these cars, including the tail lights, which if you press on the brake, the tail has a possibility of catching on fire because the bulb overheats and then causes an electrical short and catches on fire. There is a recall for that, but I'm also guessing there should be one for this. Like when the Saturn guys were getting together saying, well, what components can we put on this car? There was a committee and said, no, we need the cheapest possible components. Well, that's what you get. Fire hazards, basically. So this has a possibility to short out the entire switch. What I've been doing is going in here and etching this contact point, and there's a lot of carbon buildup in here from where it's been obviously sparking. The problem in this case actually stems from the bottom of the switch itself. This is a little rocker switch. I'm not sure if you can see this, but you can check out those contact points. See how one side is ground down? And you can tell, because of the shape of that little part where it's ground down, this has been fixed before. Now this is a used car, so my guess is the car lot or dealership would have fixed that or tried to retrofit. So I'm going to attempt to retrofit it again with some JB weld. All I have to do is make it the same height as that other nub, let it cure, slap it back in there, and I fully expect this whole assembly to work again. Even though it's burnt, I still believe that it's working. Number printed on the back of here. I mean, I can fashion a switch to get the window to roll up just for the day, but it would be nice to get it working again. So that's where we're at. This side over here has a raised contact point, and that side doesn't. It's been ground down to a little nub. There's no reason for that to have happened other than just being completely burnt up. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Some kind of nickel, maybe solder. I'm not exactly sure. So I'm going to use some JB Quick to mix up just a tiny little pea-sized drop into a paper cup. Old chopstick. Chinese restaurants, you can just go have dinner there and pick up more than a few chopsticks for stirring sticks. Works out great. And there's how much JB weld I mixed together, 1-to-1 ratio. Not a lot. I only put enough on the end of the chopstick to create just a tiny little teardrop, and slowly spread that teardrop on top of here, and I imagine that is probably the same exact thing that the last person did for this thing, because the shape of the teardrop almost exactly matches what was there. And I said in a previous project, the light disc project, to keep your cups out, because that way you know when your solution is dry or cured. So far, this is the first time I've ever used JB Weld or JB Quick, and so far I am impressed. It's a really thick epoxy, super thick hardener. That way it's great for tiny little projects where you just have to add just a drop of it, exactly like this project. And if I move both of them sideways, you can see that they both keep the same height, and kind of in the same way on that side, keep the same height, but the pin is slightly bent on that side, so it should make contact. This is actually going to work as long as that pin right there is not burnt. What I decided to do, just to test this out, was go into the car, reconnect the harness, and then use my little pick tool to depress this side. And sure enough, the window rolled up. But while it was doing that, it was sparking. And I wasn't too happy about that. The more I depressed it, the more I played with it, the larger I could get the sparks. So that is a concern, and that's why that whole side over there was completely black. Damn near every bit of electronics in that car is just like this. I mean, everything sparks, everything is put together. Just bad design. Whoever came up with this switch, this is just a stupid switch. There should be 4 different contact points. Instead, you have a band running between 2 different contact points. Wait for the JB Weld. The JB Weld won't be finished curing 4 hours from now, which is going to be nighttime. It has been 4 hours since I set it up. It looks like it's pretty good and ready to go on. Okay, now we have the switch put together. Before there was no click over here. Now there's a click. That is successfully put together, and we're going to go try that out on the car. I've already put the center console back. You can lead the wires out of the module sockets, attach them to the controls, and then just stick them right down in there. Now I have the modules put back in. They just slipped right back down in there. And now we will turn on the ignition. I personally think that if it was originally developed like that with plastic nubs, it will grind down. These switches will fail eventually. The only way to replace it is with some type of metal contact. But that's it. Good fix. We're done.